Have you ever looked at a grainy photo or a mysterious footprint in the snow and wondered, what if? What if, hidden in the world's highest peaks, there's a creature that has eluded us for centuries? Today, we're venturing into the icy realms of the Himalayas to uncover the history of one of the world's most enduring legends, the Yeti, also known as the abominable snowman. Our story doesn't begin with a viral video or a sensational headline, but with ancient folklore. For generations, the Sherpa people of Nepal have told tales of the Yeti, which translates to rock creature or that thing. To them, the Yeti wasn't a monster, but a respected, powerful, and sometimes fearsome part of their mountain world. These weren't just campfire stories. They were warnings and a way to understand the vast, untamed wilderness they called home. The Yeti was described as a large, ape-like creature, covered in dark, reddish-brown hair, that walked upright and occasionally let out a high-pitched whistle or a deep roar that echoed through the valleys. For a long time, these stories remained local legends, largely unknown to the outside world. That all changed in the 19th century as British explorers and surveyors began mapping the treacherous terrain of the Himalayas. In 1832, a British official named B.H. Hodgson, stationed in Nepal, wrote about his guides fleeing in terror from a large, hair-covered bipedal creature. He never saw it himself and dismissed it as likely being an orangutan, but the seed of a Western fascination was planted. Then, in 1899, Lawrence Waddell's book, Among the Himalayas, detailed his discovery of large, ape-like footprints in the snow. His local guides immediately identified them as belonging to the Yeti. Waddell, like Hodgson, was skeptical and attributed them to a bear. But the account captured the public's imagination. A creature, half man, half ape, living on the roof of the world. The idea was simply too thrilling to ignore. The legend truly exploded into global consciousness in the 1920s. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Howard Berry, leading a British expedition to Mount Everest in 1921, reported finding enormous footprints at an altitude of 21,000 feet. He described them as 3 times the size of a normal man's. When he asked his Sherpa guides what made them, they said it was the Metokangmi, meaning man-bear snowman. This is where a famous mistranslation changed everything. When the expedition's story reached Calcutta, a journalist named Henry Newman interviewed the returning porters. Lacking a precise translation for Meto, he creatively and rather dramatically dubbed it abominable, and thus the abominable snowman was born. This new fearsome name was perfect for newspaper headlines, and the legend went from a regional curiosity to an international sensation. The 1950s became the golden age of Yeti hunting. The conquest of Everest in 1953 by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay brought renewed attention to the region. While Hillary himself found no evidence of the Yeti, the mystique only grew. In 1951, mountaineer Eric Shipton took a photograph that would become the most iconic piece of Yeti evidence ever captured. Near the Menlung Glacier, he photographed a clear, well-defined footprint, about 13 inches long, next to his ice axe for scale. The print showed a broad forefoot, a distinct heel, and what appeared to be a large, opposable, thumb-like toe. The photo was published worldwide and is still debated by believers and skeptics today. This photo sparked a frenzy. Wealthy adventurers and dedicated cryptozoologists funded expeditions with the sole purpose of finding the Yeti. The most famous was the Daily Mail's Snowman expedition of 1954, which scoured the Everest region for months. They collected hair samples and plaster casts of footprints, and even brought back a supposed Yeti scalp from the Kumjung monastery. However, scientific analysis began to chip away at the legend. The famous Kumjung scalp, a sacred relic guarded by monks for generations, was eventually allowed to be tested. The results? It was made from the hide of a sero, a species of goat antelope native to the region. Other supposed Yeti hair samples were found to belong to bears, goats, and other known animals. A major 2017 DNA study analyzed 9 different samples attributed to the Yeti, including bone, teeth, skin, and hair. 8 of them came back as various species of local bears: the Asian black bear, Himalayan brown bear, and Tibetan brown bear. The 9th was from a dog. So, does this mean the case is closed? Is the Yeti just a case of mistaken identity? A bear walking on its hind legs, its tracks distorted by melting snow? For many scientists, the answer is yes. They argue that the harsh high-altitude environment makes it extremely unlikely for a large, unknown primate to survive without leaving more definitive evidence. A breeding population would require hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals, and we would expect to find bones, droppings, or more frequent verifiable sightings. But for believers, the story isn't over. They point to the sheer consistency of eyewitness accounts spanning decades and cultures. They argue that not every sighting can be explained away as a bear. Famed mountaineer Reinhold Messner, who initially dismissed the legend, later claimed to have had two terrifying encounters with a large nocturnal creature he came to believe was a species of bear, but one that inspired the Yeti myth, which he called the chemo. Believers also suggest that the Himalayas are vast and remote enough to hide a secret. Perhaps the Yeti is a surviving Gigantopithecus, a giant ape that lived in Asia millions of years ago and was thought to be extinct. Or maybe it's a completely new species, perfectly adapted to its environment and incredibly skilled at avoiding humans. Ultimately, the story of the abominable snowman is more than just a monster hunt. It's a story about the intersection of folklore and exploration, of belief and science. It reflects our own deep-seated fascination with the unknown and the desire for our world to still hold grand, undiscovered mysteries. The Yeti represents the wild, untamable parts of our planet, and perhaps the wild, untamable parts of our own imagination. Whether it's a real creature or a powerful myth, the legend of the snowman of the Himalayas continues to captivate us, reminding us that even in our modern mapped-out world, there are still blank spaces where wonders might just exist. What do you think? Is the Yeti a real, undiscovered primate, a case of mistaken identity, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Deep in the heart of the Himalayas, where the air is thin and the snow never melts, legends whisper of a creature both feared and revered, the Yeti. Most people dismiss these as campfire tales, stories to scare children. But I'm here to tell you a story that might just change your mind. It's the story of a young man named Leo, and an encounter that would redefine the boundaries between myth and reality. Leo wasn't a thrill-seeker or a professional mountaineer. He was a cartographer, a map maker, with a quiet passion for the world's forgotten corners. He was charting an unexplored valley, a place so remote it was literally off the map. His small plane had gone down in a sudden violent blizzard, and he was the sole survivor, lost in a vast white wilderness. Days turned into a grueling week. His supplies were dwindling, hope was fading, and the cold was a constant gnawing enemy. One evening, huddled in a shallow ice cave, a monstrous shape blocked the entrance. It was massive, covered in thick white fur, with eyes that seemed to hold the ancient wisdom of the mountains themselves. It was a Yeti. Panic seized Leo. Every horror story he'd ever heard flashed through his mind. He scrambled for his ice axe, his only weapon. But the creature didn't move, it just watched him, its expression not menacing, but curious. It let out a low, guttural sound, not a roar, but something softer, more like a question. Slowly, cautiously, Leo lowered his axe. He was weak from hunger, and in that moment he saw no aggression in the creature's gaze, only a strange, unexpected intelligence. Taking a leap of faith, a desperate gamble, Leo broke off a piece of his last energy bar and held it out. The Yeti tilted its massive head. It took a hesitant step forward, its huge padded feet making almost no sound on the snow. It sniffed the air, then gently, with surprising delicacy, took the offering from Leo's trembling hand. This was the beginning of the most unlikely friendship the world has never known. The Yeti, whom Leo began to call Bai, which means white in a local dialect, seemed to understand his plight. It would leave food for him, strange, hardy mountain roots, and occasionally a fish from a frozen-over stream it knew how to break into. Bai showed Leo how to find shelter from the biting winds and which snows were stable enough to cross. Communication was a puzzle. They had no shared language, of course, but they developed their own. A low hum from Bai meant safety. A particular tilt of the head was a question. Leo would talk to Bai constantly, telling him about his life back home, about cities, cars, and the ocean. Bai would listen, his deep blue eyes fixed on Leo, occasionally responding with a soft rumble that vibrated through the cave. Leo learned that Bai was not a monster, but a gentle giant, a solitary guardian of these sacred peaks. He saw Bai mourn a fallen ancient tree, and he saw him play, sliding down snowy slopes with a childlike joy that was completely at odds with his formidable appearance. One day, while they were exploring a new ridge, Leo spotted it. A thin trail of smoke miles away in the distance. Civilization, rescue. A surge of joy and relief washed over him, but it was immediately followed by a profound sadness. Leaving meant saying goodbye to Bai. He turned to his friend, pointing at the smoke, trying to explain. Bai looked at the smoke, then back at Leo. There was an understanding in his eyes, a deep, sorrowful wisdom. He let out a long, low call that echoed through the valley, a sound of farewell. He placed a huge, gentle hand on Leo's shoulder, a final gesture of their incredible bond. Leo made the long trek towards the smoke, his heart heavy. He was rescued, weak but alive, his story of survival hailed as a miracle. But he never spoke of Bai. How could he? Who would believe him? And more importantly, he knew that revealing the Yeti's existence would only endanger him. The world, with its greed and curiosity, would hunt him, capture him, turn him into a spectacle. So he kept the secret locked away, a treasure only he possessed. He published his new maps, but one valley, a small pristine sanctuary, he left blank. He marked it simply as unexplored territory. Years have passed. Leo is an old man now. He often looks at maps of the Himalayas, his finger tracing the lines leading to that blank space. He never went back. He knew that some places and some friendships are meant to remain sacred and untouched. He knows that high up in the world's ceiling, a gentle giant still roams the silent snowy peaks. A guardian, a friend, a myth that he knows to be true. The story of Leo and Bai is a reminder that the greatest discoveries aren't always about finding new lands, but about finding new connections in the most unexpected of places. It teaches us that sometimes the best way to protect something beautiful is to let it remain a secret. What do you think? Do you believe there are still mysteries like this hidden in our world? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts on these kinds of stories. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that explore the line between fact and fiction. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.